Hello, everyone. We have such a treat for you today with my next guest on the show. We'll be talking about super healing, what it means, and what it can do for you. Our illustrious guest will also be pulling back the curtain on his own approach to client work. Bearing in mind he's held in excess of 1 million one on one sessions. He's also had celebrity clients and has helped people to heal from all kinds of physical and emotional issues, some of which are deemed incurable. I have to say at this point, I've got to say it, that energy healing isn't to be used instead of Western medical practices or advice from your doctor. So now I've got that out of the way. Back to my guest, he was made aware of his calling to service from the tender age of 6 years old, and he received a calling card, as I call it, from the universe in the form of a majestic Om sound. This spiritual experience was the catalyst for decades of self-discovery, training, client work, TV appearances, not least via his own TV show. It's worth mentioning back in the days when we only had a few channels on our TV sets. He's a multiple best-selling author with some 23 books published and counting, I hasten to add. Now with his own publishing company, Wayward Publications Limited, he helps those who think outside of the box to get their message out to the masses. In short, he's helped literally millions of people to transform their lives, living with more expansion, joy, and a fuller of themselves. He's also a musician, DJ, producer, the creator of the world-class Amped series, a program which will help you to fulfill your mission in this lifetime. He's also started his own record company as well, but that's a side issue. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honour, privilege to bring you the amazing Barefoot Doctor, Stephen Russell. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh man, I should have you like with me all the time. So when anybody says to me, what is it you actually do? I never know how to answer. I say, Danny, this is the fabulous Danny Cranial. I'll tell you all about it. And I just stand there meekly and humbly with my hands down like that, listening while you say it all and go, yeah, man, that's me, it's true. Thank you.
Yes. Today we're going to be talking about super healing.
You have to forgive the person hooting me outside. Honking the horn. I can't control. I've lost my remote control.
That's a shame. That's a shame. I hate when you lose those remote controls to turn down people's horns.
Yeah.
So, just to give a bit of context, in September and October, you're going to be holding some talks and workshops in Ramsbottom, which is near Manchester, Bury, and in the Isle of Wight. And you're going to be sort of sharing a framework and how to approach self-healing first, and then obviously healing client work, whether you're a newbie, whether you're a bit of a seasoned professional practitioner, etc. These are going to be £95 for a one-day workshop and £25 for an evening talk, which by my reckoning are an outstanding bargain, to say the very least. And you're also going to be offering, as if that wasn't enough, your super healing online program, which is currently at $397 US dollars when I was on your website. And they get that as a bonus for signing up. But I want to just start by asking you what super healing means to you, how the name came about, that sort of thing.
But first I have to point out the irony that I contracted this totally weird flu that's been going around these parts lately. So it's a bit ironic I'm talking about super healing, because I could easily just go collapse on the floor right now. However, I won't. And super healing, well, kind of the name is a bit of a joke. There's irony in it, because healing is a very discreet, subtle process, which, as you know, comes from a realm that is not this human one. It comes from, I always hesitate to even try and define the dimension whence comes this magic, really, because it seems presumptuous to say it's this, it's that. But the modern habit for hyperbole, Britain about to be slammed by a heat wave, like it's going to get hot, man. All right, it's all about slamming and banging and everything. So there's a lot of superlative, and it really was my piss take of all of that, calling it super healing, I enjoy those shows, but it's a really nice sound. That's the thing. It's a lovely word, super healing, and I love it when you do things for a joke, but they actually really work. And it is super healing. It's not a joke. The reason it's super healing, so super is, as you know, it's the Latin word for above, that which sits above. In the Greek version of it is meta. You know, so we talk about metaphysics, that which sits above the physical, and this is metaphysical healing. It really is. It's I really hesitate to give it all the big verbals about where it's channeled from and everything. But as I say, I find that I find it a bad taste when people start talking about who and what they're channeling. It just seems like I'll get off it, you know. But I have precedent here because it comes from the ancient Taoist healing tradition. The whole of Chinese medicine is based on this template, and the myth. And I generally tend to err on the side of believing that it's true. It just feels like it. Why not? I don't care either way, but why not? Was that 25,000 years ago, Earth was visited by aliens from a planet somewhere around the Sirius A, Sirius B, and I think there's a Sirius C trinary star system, which is very close to Earth. It's 8.6 light years away. It's pretty close. And the reason it's interesting is because they're not the only ancient culture to have this myth. The Dogon tribe in Timbuktu have it on their rock wall drawings, 25,000-year-old rock cave paintings. The ancient Egyptians had it. The Romans believed in it. The Japanese still think they come from Sirius, the whole nation. I could go on. Yeah, Quetzalcoatl is the Inca version of it. The Mayans had it in there. The Native Americans with whom I lived, they had their version of it. There was this sense that there's been visitation, physical, twice. And on top of that, telepathic communication. Now, it wasn't just from there. It was also from the Pleiades, which are the 7 sisters, the 7 stars that are clustered. In the winter sky in the Northern Hemisphere, if you look up directly above you in December, around about, I don't know, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, you'll see Sirius right there in the sky above you. It's very bright, you can't miss it. You then move your vision along to the right, and you can see this cluster of stars, which are the 7 stars, the Pleiades. And you can kind of see how people get in their space rocket there, zoom across, refuel, and then drop down to here. I mean, I'm sure it's nothing like that, but it looks like that a bit. So, I mean, whether it's just nonsense and myth, it doesn't matter. What is interesting, though, is that from being essentially, one would imagine, fairly agrarian and not that evolved cultures, suddenly the ancient Egyptians were able to build pyramids, which we could not even do today. The Taoist guys who became the Taoist guys in northern China, where they were visited, went from being guys sitting up on mountains to suddenly having this system of medicine, which is like no one has come even close to yet in our modern culture. Now, the contemporary conventional so-called wisdom about Chinese medicine is that it evolved from about 5,000 years ago and came about by accident through people being stabbed by swords in battle, and then somehow or other having the presence of mind to go, I'm really thinking that a lot, but it's really interesting. The sore throat that I had this morning seems to have passed. That's very interesting. And maybe sending that information into some central information bureau who collated it all together, and finally they came through with this ridiculously developed system of over 2,000 points, each with a very precise action when you needle it this way or needle it that way, and a really deep understanding of how all the organs work, the mind states that they elicit for you, and how you can adjust your state of mind by changing the energy of the organs, or you can change your body by changing the state of mind, or you can affect healing in various organs which Western medicine would have given up on, and become healthy again when you were told you were going to die. I mean, I've done it myself, let alone for other people. Now, the reason they think it was 5,000 years old was because the Yellow Emperor's classic of Chinese medicine, as I recall, was written about 5,000 years ago. But I mean, it's totally stupid, that there's no way you could write a book about Chinese medicine that had just kind of evolved. He got his courtesan Su Wen to collate everything that was still happening and still expand, that the people hadn't forgotten yet, around about 5,000 years ago. They started forgetting it about 12,000 years ago. So this was the trying to remember before it all went. It was about 5,000 years ago. So then what we have now is the remnants of this incredible system. However, like my teacher used to say to me, the reason it escaped out of China just before the Chinese Revolution, 1949, and came primarily to San Francisco and then spread from there, was so that the Western intellect, which compared to the Chinese mind, it has to be said slightly barbaric and crude and primitive. I mean, I consider myself to be rather primitive in relation to my teacher, for example, who was incredibly refined with the energy and the mindset and everything. But our intellect and our crudeness and primitive mindset would actually somehow evolve it to the next stage, which is kind of happening, I think, a bit. I mean, I think it's happening a bit with me, but anyhow. We express it through acupuncture. You can use needles, you can use pressure, you can use what we today call cranial osteopathy or craniosacral therapy, a way of moving energy in a kind of yin-yang motif through the body, mostly through the skull, but with the hands could go anywhere, in fact. With the mind, just with intention, all of it, because the person themselves is the one that's doing the healing, no matter who's the healer, the recipient of the healing is actually doing the healing. They have to agree to it. Their subconscious mind has to go, get it, I get that message. Okay, good. I'll do something useful with that. Thank you very much. So that the actual healing process is actually a conversation that me, the healer, is having with the patient. And so when I've got my hand on and I'm feeling into their rhythm, I'm not trying to do anything to them. I'm creating a partnership, a collaboration, whereby I can feel I'm talking to their autonomic system and getting it to agree with what is, to the good ideas I'm having at least. And the method goes in many levels. You have the local level, where the 5 vital organs, which are the kidneys, the liver, the heart, the spleen, and the lungs, between them are responsible for every function in your body and every function in your mind, but also every function in your life. This is something that goes way beyond the scope of Western thought. So, if anyone's watching this who's trained as a Western doctor, just keep an open mind. I'm not suggesting that this is right and your way's wrong. It's not. They work in tandem, but it's quite sort of a radical notion. But however, it does tally with our traditions in the West, like the kind of folk medicine of the West. For example, the liver is responsible for many things, one of which is engaging in the game of life with people, having the confidence, the drive to go, yeah, come on, let's go out and have fun. Let's go and do this project. Let's do something. The energy for that comes from the liver. Now, when the liver, so it's quite a wild, let's go do it kind of energy, lustful for life and experience. When it overheats, then you get really bloody angry because somebody hasn't done something they should have done. That is when you're livid. Now, livid, it comes from, I don't know where it's Old English or Old German or whatever, French, Latin, I don't know. But it is the adjective of liver. And, they understood that. Courage, French word, courage, le coeur, they were Latin, the core, the heart. Courage is heart energy, same in Chinese medicine. When your heart energy is strong, you feel courageous. You don't feel afraid. You feel bold. You feel that you can achieve anything you want to, regardless of what your resources are or opportunities are like at the time. When your heart energy is low, you could be the daughter or son of some multi-billionaire with every opportunity on the planet, the world at your feet, and you'll still be thinking, I don't think I can do it, because it's the heart energy low. So it completely controls. Now, the spleen, which, by the way, in French, they talk about giving vent to your spleen, speaking your mind, controls your intellectual faculties, your practical thinking, short-term memory, What was I going to do next? And then I do this, then I do that, then I go here, then I go, then I phone this one, then I do that one. You know, we need that. It is how we function on the planet. It also controls your money flow, because it's the element of earth. Earth is all about being nourished by things of the earth, i.e. our version of that these days is money. And so, yeah, your money flow will be controlled by your spleen energy to a large extent. I know it sounds nuts, but it does actually work. Interestingly, you adjust the energy of the spleen, and with intention and clarity and a practical setup to enable money to come in the first place, you will find that you'll start to focus on it differently, and it starts to flow to you differently. Anyhow, these organs, though, they get their energy from the environment. They get their energy from light, from sound, from gravity, i.e. kind of substance. They get it from food, of course, from air, breathing, and from fluid. And they get it from human warmth to some extent as well. You know, we need to be around each other, even if it's virtually like this. That gives it the organs energy. But they also, that's one level, and it addresses the super healing, or the Taoist healing system, addresses that very practical, environmentally referenced level of energy production and expenditure. But there's a much deeper level than that, whence comes everything. And the idea is that if somebody comes to you in pain, or you're in pain yourself, it's only the compassionate thing to do to address your attention to the symptoms first, to get rid of the acute pain so that they can relax. You know, you don't sort of tell them, well, yeah, that's been caused by whatever. I'm not going to do anything about that pain. I'm going to treat the cause, and in time the pain will go. Because yeah, it's true, it's a bit cruel. You want to help people, you don't want them to be in an awful state, you know. So you would attend to the superficial level first. And in this case, we'd be talking about whatever's going on with the organs. You would address that level of the organs being referenced to what's going on around them on the earth plane. However, your real work, and the most important part of it, is to conduct an energy that comes from a different dimension into either it's you're healing you, into your body, or into the patient that you're working with. And when you do that, the rest of it, the physical, environmental stuff, is a lot easier to deal with. It just responds miraculously. Now, there's a few levels of this. It's very interesting. I could go on about this for days. I don't. Just you stop me if it's getting tedious. But the important part of it that people grab onto and that makes it easy to relate to is the light, the blue light. Now, the blue light. This is universal in Taoist practice. There are physical qigong exercises where there's one where you stand hanging forwards, you know, where you're stretching the back of your legs out, but naked with your bottom facing Sirius in the winter, so that you can conduct the shaft of blue light in through and into your body from there. For example, I have to tell you, I've only ever tried that once, and I thought, I'm sure there are other ways of going about this, because that just feels somewhat ungainly to me. Call me a prude if you will. And but what the idea of it is that the Taoist, the legend is that this is the light that comes from Sirius. It's being sent to you by an ally of those people, of those beings, somehow or other. They are blue light beings. Anyone who's ever had an experience of it spontaneously experiences blue light beings. I did myself before I even knew that, and before my teacher had explained any of this to me. He taught me the Taoist Astral Travel technique, because that's kind of part of the whole thing. If you're going to heal people, you need to be able to travel into their body and mend things from the inside. And in my explorations of space, I found myself in the company of these blue light beings that had faces a bit like Egyptian pharaohs, and they felt lovely and benign, and I just would go along with it. And I didn't have a relationship with my teacher where I could go and talk about that stuff. He could tell me everything, but it wasn't like I would tell him those kind of things. It was a bit, I don't know, it just wasn't that way round, the dynamic. It wasn't until I got back to London about a year or two or three later that a book, you know, metaphorically fell off a shelf and opened up. It's The Cosmic Trigger by Robert Anton Wilson. And I opened it and it says, over the last 10 years or so, since 1975 or whatever, increasing numbers of people have reported spontaneous telepathic communication from blue light beings from the star Sirius, that system. I think, wow, man, wow. And then, anyway, my teacher had explained to me that the Taoists believe that these guys are the ones that taught them everything that they know. There's a bit of a mush about it. I don't know if it's them and the Pleiades or whatever you call them, or both, or just one of them. I never really got that clear. I'm really not that interested in it. But the fact that you can draw the blue light from Sirius into, and you do it like you can do it like that with your hands. You just draw it like that, and you smear it wherever you want to put it. You can smear it across the body, across the mind, or you can have a thought about a situation where you need to say earn a lot of money quickly or whatever because you've got trouble, or get some money in, and you can just move the light around it with your hand. You know, you just go shush like that. You use it in the martial arts. It's used in the Tai Chi fighting. I don't know if you saw the Guy Ritchie movie of Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. The most amazing fight scene I've ever seen in the movie. And he got that in that perfectly. He saw what was coming and he planned it, he visualized it, and he moved the energy and he followed it, and it worked. I mean, I've done it myself in practice and a couple of other situations where I followed that energy, that blue light, and it's amazing when it's there. Anyhow, so the idea is you draw this blue light in diagonally downwards into the chest, the upper chest. Usually that's the entry point of whoever it is, if it's you or whoever you're healing. And then you disperse it. If you know where it needs to go, you disperse it there, or you allow it to find its own way to wherever it wants to go. It would be very similar if you were doing Reiki. You'd be projecting a symbol onto a particular area of the body. In this, you're excuse me, you're drawing the blue light and sending that into, you're willing it to go to the area that you want it to go, knowing that it's got a kind of hyper intelligence about it, so that once it gets in there, it acts as a catalyst on the natural supreme intelligence of the person's autonomic system, and will create some kind of healing reaction in there. I'm not really sure I'm explaining all that at all very well, but that is where I'm up to with it, I think, for now.
The Barefoot Doctor, everyone, full of flu and still in flow. You're always full of, amount of information, fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for sharing that. I was literally taking that all in, thinking, wow. I'm just going to nip the comments, Doc, as we do. Let's have a look.
And while you're doing that, I do think it's important that people just get from that the idea that you can grab the light, you can play with that, grab the light with your hand and throw it at things, throw it at people to heal them, throw it at yourself to heal yourself. Take that from it, just that real simple. It's really fun and it works. It works. I'm
going to try that for sure. Yeah. Dinah, well, we've got Juliet saying, good morning, lovely, such a delight to see you both. Likewise, Juliet, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Dinah Lane saying she loves the casual interview format. I do too. Isabel Martin saying, hello, hi, Isabel.
Hi.
Sam, our friend, Sam saying, hi guys from Grace, and Sam can't wait for the super healing event in Ramsbottom, which is obviously where you're going to go into this in a lot more detail.
Yeah, because Sam is hosting that event.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Got Rob Carpenter saying, I didn't realise this was going to be about super healing. And I have been studying the Doc's amazing super healing course non-stop the last couple of days while sick from work. Who knew? He's saying, hello, fellas. Hi, mate.
Nice, Rob. Good.
We've got Isabel saying, ooh, our history is... Oh, let's get it up. Our history is very poorly told, isn't that the truth? We think we are the peak of civilization, but there have been civilizations way more advanced than us, for sure. Human civilizations, both in technology and awareness. We've got Karen Richardson. Hi, Karen. Seeing Danny and Doc. Hello, lovely people. Hi, Karen.
Hey, lovely Karen. Nice to see you.
Janie Louise. Hiya, Janie. Saying good morning, Danny and Stephen. Lovely morning to you. Dinah saying excellent material. Whoa, thank you. I bought Barefoot Doctor's Qigong program. And Dinah's saying this is inspirational and a reminder to do it. I just have the impression that it's not so cool for old people. I'm a social animal and find it requires a lot of discipline to do it solo. Any tips to kickstart to do it? I think I'll print out the benefits.
Old people, no, it's great for old people. It's the benefit, best for old people because, when you're older, you don't necessarily have the physical energy to do physical interventions, but this is all really done with intention. And I think it's brilliant for old people. It make you live a lot longer, for sure. I believe so. It has me so far. Yeah.
Yeah, and Karen was saying that she was laughing her arse off when you mentioned showing you flashing your backside at serious to bring in the light.
Well, you say you feel like such a Charlie doing it, You just feel so dark doing it. That's the funny part. Like, just be like, why am I doing this? Anyway, yeah, it's good though. It does work. It's interesting. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Doc. Can anyone truly get into this energy healing, whether you call it super healing, whether you call it energy healing, Reiki? The list goes on, and modalities, obviously. But can anyone get into it and use it effectively?
I'm sure. I'm totally sure. It's such a natural function. Like anyone could be kind to someone. Anyone could be kind to themselves. I mean, we have different levels of it, and of course, that people have different levels of talent with different activities. I feel if you had 10 children and 10 pianos and a really good teacher, you could get all 10 children playing the piano, no problem. And if they kept it going quite quickly, one or two would emerge as obviously having a more of an aptitude for it, and they probably developed to become great pianists. But it doesn't mean the others wouldn't too. And it's the same with healing. I'm sure it feels to me it is a natural function for everybody. That's why when you bang your head, you go, and you put your hand there, you're healing it. It's a natural reaction. You're closing the circuits and, join it back up to you. So it's not like a fragmented bit of self. We all have it in us, healing, like cats do. People do as well. So yeah, anyone can. But like I say, different people have different levels of aptitude at different times. I mean, really, I would never have thought I'd be good at this shit, ever. I mean, I am so, by nature, excitable, doing stuff, primarily always been interested in creating sound, have bands and music and running about and doing all that, having fun. It's not like I'm a recluse or anything. I would have never had myself as somebody who'd have the patience to, and the softness and kindness, the sensitivity to devote to healing other people. You just never know, do you? I think anyone, if I can, in other words, anyone can. Yeah.
I love those analogies about the 10 kids and the piano, the teacher. That's a great way of explaining it. I've been looking through your super healing aspect of the website, which is barefootdoctorworld.com, by the way, which will flash up later on. And you said it's important to heal yourself first. Why do you think it's important to heal yourself first before then going out to heal others?
Well, I hope I didn't say it in a binary way. It's not intended that you have to heal yourself completely and be totally sorted before you can help anyone else, because that's not possible. The yin and the yang makes it that however healed you are, you'll also be unhealed. So there's always a process. But that you're attending to your own healing process first, because otherwise what you're doing is you're not going to be conscious properly. The quality of your consciousness isn't going to be fine enough to intervene on another person's energy field. I think you've got to be involved with your own healing process, being aware of your own pain, your own mortality, your own frailty, because through that you've had to learn how to find your strength and your clarity and your courage, which is what's required to help other people with. I don't know, with the acupuncture, for example, I had to needle myself 1,008 times before I could put a needle in anyone else, because you have to do that in the old-fashioned way of doing it anyway. So yeah, you have to take care of you first to be a bit sound of mind and body, a bit well-rounded, a bit with a good, loving, open heart, so that you're ready for it. Otherwise, you bring a fractious energy to people, I think. I'm not saying it wouldn't work, I don't know, but it's better if you heal yourself first a bit.
Yeah. It's perhaps me who paraphrased you in a more binary way. I'm not sure you did quite see it so strict as that's on your website. you brought in acupuncture there, and I've often had a question surrounding acupuncture, which I've never had time to ask you. I don't know much about it, but obviously you're putting sort of needles in the meridian points to get more energy flow, I'm presuming. And I know some people who've gone for acupuncture and they said it works well, but they've got to keep going back for subsequent sessions every however many weeks or months. I'm wondering if it's a bit like, when I used to do a lot of Reiki for people, it would work in the short term and they would have amazing results. But, weeks, months down the line, the problem would come back again. And that used to deflate me. And I used to think, is it a bit like trying to fill a bathtub without the plug in fully? And it's, unless you get to the underlying, will or could acupuncture ever get to the underlying just by having repeat sessions, or is there more needed to get underneath it? Is kind of my question.
Well, first I have to say about the bath analogy. If you had filled the bath up with the plug in and left it there for 6 months, it would eventually run out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true.
So, and the reason that you generally have to have follow-ups is because what you're really doing as an acupuncturist or any natural healer is helping the person retrain themselves. That's what you really do. They're retraining themselves to develop different habits. This is all it's about. At the deepest most organic cellular level, it's all about habits of movement, habits of thought, habits of energy production. It's all about habits. So you're helping someone retrain how they operate at a really deep autonomic level. And you know how it is, anything that we learn, you have your initial blast of education, and then you go away and you start messing it up bit by bit, because that's what we do. So it corrupts, So you have to go back for a follow-up training thing to bring you back to the place. However, that doesn't preclude there are instances where you are able to intervene and with one session completely sort somebody. But it very much depends on who, when, what the condition is, and many other factors. It's not, but yeah, I don't think there's anything to feel deflated about if you have to have follow-ups. It's really normal because it's education, and that doesn't all happen in one go, really. The other reason is that we all have a self-destructive side that Freud called the death urge. As much as we want to construct ourselves, we want to destroy ourselves as well. And the part of us that is invested in self-destruction will fight back. It just does that. So you have the treatment, whatever it is, and it cuts through all the resistance. It takes the person by surprise. As soon as they kind of come back to themselves and that other bit that wants to mess them up, kind of go, wait a minute, and they fight back and they rebel, basically. It's what happens. And that's what a healing crisis is after a session. And then if you've done it right, it will then settle back down, and bit by bit they'll start to develop the healthier way of being. So it's normal to expect the self to fight back a bit and mess it up a little bit. And that's why it's usual to need follow-up sessions. But when I was practicing acupuncture as a job, and people would always say, well, when do I come back after the first session? Just go, just go. And if you need to come back, you get in touch. I'm not going to tell you need to come back in whenever, because you probably won't need to, I don't know. But you might, and if you do, just get in touch, it's fine. And I guess about half the people did need to come back at various points. But, most people say you need to come back there because they're this business, isn't it? They want to make money out of it. My thing was always, fuck that, just let them go, because I don't need to make money out of it like that. I do, you need to make a living, but I want it to be real. It's got to be real. It's about them, not me. Nothing to do with me, any of it. It's all about helping people. So, and it worked really well, actually. Almost if you give somebody that, you can do this on your own message, they usually can.
Yeah, that all makes great sense to me. Because I did used to get deflated. I didn't expect everything to be healed in one session, but people were coming back 3 times, 4 times, and they were like, it seemed healed, and for a period of time, then it was coming back, and I just thought there's got to be more to this. So thank you for that.
Also, when someone's around you, Danny, the fabulous Danny Green, for example, with your beautiful healing energy, that's very powerful. And the effect of that is very powerful for the person, and they're really bathed in your influence, and eventually they're getting influenced by lots of other people, and it wears off. That's kind of what that is. And they haven't got the training that you have to keep it going necessarily. So that's all it is.
Thank you. Feeling the love. Cheers, Doc. I have a question. If someone's listening to this and they might have a healing issue of themselves, they might have a little bit of experience of energy healing. Do you have any tips on how to start addressing or working with a healing issue that you might have?
You mean in technique, in terms of technique?
Yeah, just to. I know
you're talking about for practitioners, healers.
Yeah, there could be someone with a little bit of sort of experience that might have done the odd modality, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I tell you what occurs to me to say as a gift to everybody. And you know, if I'm talking to you and you're a practitioner already, I reckon you might already have this experience. So forgive me if I'm stating the obvious, but I've always felt it, and I was taught that this is the case by my own master teacher, that you are not on your own when you're doing a healing, that there are one or two or more so-called guides that are people who've died, usually, I think, and they somehow they are still around though. They've made themselves be continually available, and they're there. This is one guy, I think it's a guy. I never try and picture it too clearly. I just feel him, and he'll tell me. Okay, so I look at the person's body, and I'm trained to look about there and let my peripheral vision blur, and I just look, and then I'll see the energy, and he'll say to me, "Yeah, you see, the heart needs to do this, needs doing that, needs doing that. Do you see that?" And I'll go, "Yeah, I see that." And then he'll say, "Okay, what you need to do is bang, 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 this to do, this point, that point, this point, that point." The next end, and I was taught to do this, that's when you check it by taking the pulses in Chinese medicine and gauging it by all your intellectual training in that the heart does this, the liver does that. And you check it back and it's like, yeah, man, I get that. That's really clever. Good. All right, let's go. And then you just follow the instructions and magic happens. Whenever I haven't done that, it could work. It kind of works, but it's just me being a technician rather than a magician. You know, but the real magic, the ones where people go, "Wow, man, you cured me! I can't believe it. That's amazing." Those come because this guide is telling me what to do, and I don't. It's irrelevant whether it's Chinese medicine or whatever. But if you are a practitioner and you haven't yet experienced this, or if you have, tune into your guide without getting too romantic or too like creative about who they are. It's not relevant. That doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter what their name is. Doesn't matter where they come from. Doesn't matter what anything. None of it. You just can feel that they're there and they have this vast knowledge, and they'll tell you what to do. Follow it and see what happens. I think you'll find it will completely alter your whole experience of being a healer.
Nice one. Fantastic. Great advice for any healers watching this live stream, of which we've got 18 people on currently. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I've got another comment, which I can't seem to get up. Oh, I can. Isabel saying, how I learned it, healing to be completely effective has to be done at the casual level, which we don't always do because we're not aware of what that level is. So
causal level. Causal level.
Yeah, the more likely we are to heal integrally. I can't say it, easier said than done when we're locked into more tied up perspectives and points of view.
Causal level, I think that is, isn't it? At the level of cause. Yeah, which is what all this stuff's about. It's like finding where the cause is. But what's interesting about the cause is always a decision. At some level of the mind, always pretty much unconscious, the person has made a decision. And I have worked with people who are diagnosed as paranoid, schizophrenic, total psychotic, whatever you want to, people who are really physically ill, whatever. If you can get there, and there is a knack to doing it, you can show them that at a certain point, they decided the best way of dealing with this trauma that I'm experiencing is to do this, i.e. check out like that, go a bit nuts in that kind of way, do this, do that. And then it becomes a habit they can't stop. And I know that this is a very radically, like contrary thing to say to anyone who's schooled in the Western psychiatric tradition or the medical one. But it seems to be, to me, very clear. If you can find where that original choice was, and it will be unconscious, you've got to be pretty clever to do it, you can then start undoing stuff. But it will be a choice. At some level, there's always a choice goes on. You might have been 3 years old or 2 months old, so it's quite hard to find it. But when you do, the person goes, oh yeah, oh, I see that, I did. And then once they've got that, then they can own it and they can change it. And things do start shifting quite dramatically.
Wow, you've got such a wealth of experience, which I'm blessed for you to be sharing this with us today, Doc. Thank you. Just got a couple more comments. Birdie saying, hi, Danny, interesting conversation. Thank you. Quite agree, Birdie. Kathy saying, you are both magicians and not technicians. Bless you, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like the word magician, yeah. Diana saying, when I do massage, I feel transference of some aches and pains. How do you protect yourself? That's a good question. Really good question.
Yeah, it is a very good question. What's interesting is that when I asked that question of my teacher, he said, the physician is in you. I went, but he said again, physician is in you. And then just looks at me with that kind of look that says, are you hearing what I'm saying? And I got it completely. That's it. You have to have that knowledge that the physician is in you. The other one, if that isn't going to do it for you, is that if this isn't mine, take it from me. Because you're not under any obligation to take on the pain of others. We somehow, again, that's a choice that we didn't realize we made. I must suffer along with everybody else. It's not true. I can serve other people who are suffering far better when I'm not suffering, i.e. when I'm not making myself suffer. So when I'm riding on the joy of being alive, I can help people a lot more. This isn't mine, i.e. when you're working with someone, you can become sensitive, you can feel it. How they're also usually wanting you to do that. There's a whole unspoken dialogue going on. Take this away from me, Doc. Take this away. You have it. Go on, you have it. And the part of me that would be the sucker that didn't have the self-esteem or the self-worth, thought I should punish myself because that guy's suffering. We're all right then. And then I start taking it on. And we then colluding in a destructive cycle. But what I learned to do was like holding the person or whatever I'm doing. And I can feel that thing starting to happen. I go, if this isn't mine, take it from me. And it would just go like that. But that was done on the basis that the physician is in you. Like, an indisputable fact. It's a really powerful one, that. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It was a hard lesson for me to learn, back in the day when I first started doing energy work. And as you see, you could take it on and it'd make your day miserable, whether it was physical, emotional, whatever.
Yeah.
So then I just learned to ground it, just, ground myself before starting, then just say, not mine, take it away, ground it. And it was, that's so great advice. Got Clive Kellerman, I think he's a first timer on this call, I've never seen him on before. Welcome, Clive, we seem to agree with that. Oops, always a way to look after self that carries on into dysfunction.
Yeah. I like that green shirt Clive's wearing there. That's a lovely shirt. Lovely green. Anyhow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, look at that green, and that lovely green.
Yes, it is. Hide current comment. I knew this was going to be fascinating, but I didn't realise just how much so and how informative it was going to be. Just to give everyone a reminder, you're going to be doing super healing talks, workshops in Ramsbottom, which is near Manchester, in September, and the Isle of Wight in October. And the prices of which are just such super incredible value as well. You're looking at £95 for a full day workshop in either case. There'll also be an evening talk, which is £25. And that is just stunning value. And you're also doing a deal on the super healing course as well from your website for those in attendance.
But you know what it is? I think anyone who wants to come to a thing like that, they're usually pretty sincere about wanting to learn the thing, or they wouldn't come. And so it's nice to give them the online thing, because then that keeps it going for them. And it was a really powerful training, that one. I did actually channel that all the way through. I remember it was really powerful. I just sat there talking into the mic and thinking, like, who is this talking? It really was bizarre. It was this whole energy that was talking through me. And I really felt it. It was anything. And when it was all done, it was like, whoa, what was that? And what did I say? I had no idea what I'd been saying. And then I do that live. That's what the live thing is. It's really something. And Ramsbottom is a lot more romantic than people would think from the name. It means the valley of wild garlic in Celtic, not a ram's arse. Just so you know. I would have changed the name of it myself and made it a little cuter, but anyway, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it is a quaint place. It's lovely, like got a beautiful feeling to vibe to it. So,
lovely.
Yeah, so I recommend people even traveling to it, just stay, put yourself in a what was I going to say? It's gone. Oh yes, there's something alchemic about when people of like mind join up in a room, and obviously guided by a 50-year veteran in the field such as yourself. It's just the sum is great, and the whole of the party energetically as well.
Yeah, it's an honour to do. And Sam Whitaker, who runs the chakra room, the rooms that is putting it on, is such a lovely woman who really creates an amazing energy, lovely energy for it. And all the people that she attracts are so lovely. Well, you know that. You've seen it. You met her. She's so lovely. So it's a great place to do it. Perfect place.
Yeah, Sam's just correcting me. The evening is £35, not £25. I don't know how I got that wrong, but thanks for the correction. And Barefoot is very kindly giving the training to those attending the daytime one-day workshop. Yep. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. It just really is. So thank you for giving fantastic value as always, Doc. And it's really appreciated. I've learned so much myself as well, just sitting listening to you. We always like to finish off on a guided visualization, and love you for that. I think since we've spent the last hour talking about super healing, which obviously I'll get into far more detail come the workshops, I would wonder if we could use that theme and maybe do a guided visualization on super healing. As you said yourself, we've all got something going on emotionally or physically.
Okay. All right. Well, look, if you settle yourself, I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking to you. I mean to everybody.
Yeah.
I would never be so rude. So really, if you could just settle yourself. So settle yourself there, young man. So let yourself settle. If you can close your eyes, close your eyes. Let your body relax in whatever position it's in. Just let it relax more than it was before. You don't have to sit up straight or anything with it. Just be as you are, but relax more with it. Become aware of your breathing and let the breath start to find a bit of a slower rhythm and to feel a little bit more, a bit softer and more silken as it comes in and out. So you start to become aware of the sensual pleasure of breathing. It's not just mechanical. And give the breathing a bit of respect, because that's what's keeping us alive right now. It's the breathing. If you weren't breathing now, you wouldn't be here. So it's the most important thing there is, but it's also the most effective way of controlling or altering your mental state, the tone of your mind. By feeling the breath as soft and silken, the mind becomes soft and silken. By slowing the breathing down so that the in-breath and the out-breath are taking a lot longer to happen, the mind slows down. It doesn't make you stupid, it's the contrary. The mind operates far better when it's not racing. Now, talking of the mind, there are various places you can put your mind, and wherever you put your mind will, within your body that is, will affect your entire experience of who you are and determine the levels of power you have available to you in any given moment, whether that's to be used for healing or manifesting or self-defense or stamina or whatever it is that you need power for. In this instance, we're going to do a bit of self-healing. Now, the usual place where the mind resides is in the forebrain, just behind the forehead. And it does that because we have, since we became agriculturalists about 10, 12,000 years ago, started relying on that part of the brain more and more, because it's devoted to language and to what we think other people are thinking of us. I.e., it's also to do with bonding with the group. And when society started becoming based on future projections of whether crops would grow, whether there'd be enough food to eat, and so on. And once it then necessarily became dependent on people owning land or renting land, and not everybody being able to do that. Some people having to make the horseshoes, and some people having to make the hoes and the rakes and what have you. There was needed a medium of exchange, and there's money started happening, and then there had to be laws and banking and all the rest that comes with it. Excuse me. And therefore, the human experience has become increasingly, over the last 10,000 years or so, focused on what goes on in the front of the brain. And what that is us projecting stories. So we are amazing storytellers. And what happens is, basically, in your belly, you feel fear because you're an animal. It keeps you alive, fear, so it's a great thing. It means you're alive, and you naturally have fear because it's a dangerous world, in theory. So you've got this fear, but you look around you and it doesn't look very dangerous. I mean, aside from the potential for being stabbed in London or shot in Damascus or wherever it is, most of the time, the surroundings are fairly salubrious and safe, most of the time. So the mind doesn't understand, why do I feel this fear? And to justify the feeling, it creates stories. I know why I'm afraid. I'm afraid because I've not got enough money. I'm going to end up on the street begging, and everyone's going to laugh at me for being a loser, and then I'm going to die, for example. And because we're really, really good, or I've got a pain in my shoulder, it's just a ripped a tendon or whatever. Oh, no, it's cancer. I've heard stories about people who they had a pain and then it turned out they had 2 weeks left to live, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm going to die. And you can really make yourself terrified of the story that you tell yourself, because we're brilliant storytellers. And the way you feel the terror is in the belly, where the original fear was. And all you've actually done is make the natural animal fear much stronger and toxic, because it's no longer a real fear, it's an imaginary fear. Well, if you were to allow the fear right now, feel the fear of being alive, feel the fear of being an animal on the planet, and just breathe with it. I go, yeah, I'm afraid, it doesn't matter. I love this, because I'm alive, and yeah, I'm afraid, and it doesn't matter. I'm afraid, I'm alive, and it's all fine, and it's great, and I'm breathing, and it's exciting, and I'm afraid, and it doesn't matter. So that's the kind of setup. If you can draw yourself into the back brain, so that your mind is not in the forebrain anymore, it's not caught up in all that imaginary drama and the accompanying tension in the belly. You now are sitting in the back of your head instead, like you're a Buddha sitting with your back leaning up against the rear wall of the skull, gazing towards the mouth of the cave where the forehead is, out into infinity, watching the clouds passing by, because we're quite high up on the mountain here. It's a sacred mountain. And the clouds are passing by. Those are like your thoughts, your local thoughts. You have no urge to jump on the cloud and follow it where it's going to go. You have no urge to dissect the cloud and analyze it and figure out what it's made of or what it's likely to turn into. You don't care, it's just a cloud, so you just let it come and let it go. It's the same with all the thoughts. You're sitting in the back of the brain, and any kind of thought about, there's not enough money, or I wonder if I need to do this, or I must remember to do that, it doesn't matter, you just let it pass by the mouth of the cave, because you're really safe back here, nothing going to touch you here. Then you realize that all the while that your mind was in the forebrain, the weight of your body was inclined to be in the front of your body rather than the back of your body. So you were filling yourself up in the front where all that fear and tension was going on, and you're crowding the space. The whole thing becomes really quite unpleasant. And that's why people walk around feeling stressed and out of sorts a lot of the time. Whereas the real seat of power, like the proper seat in the theatre where you're meant to be sitting, the throne room of the palace, is in the back. So what you do is you allow the weight to shift back and allow yourself to gather around your spine. Because your spine is like the main strut of your physical being. And once you do that, once you sit back and let the weight settle in the back of you, with the mind in the back of the head, you suddenly have perspective. You are now able to see the whole process of being the human that you are with clarity. You've given yourself psychological, psycho-emotional distance from it. You have perspective, you have wisdom. You are now able to exercise your options rather than feel compelled to act out or think in a certain way. You now know that you have options. And while things may be compelling, it's not compulsory to do them. You have the choice. You can act out in a totally different way than the way you've been acting out if you want. Now, before I go any further with that theme, I'll go back to it. In the front of your body, there's your chest. So when you're sitting in the back, pay attention to letting the breastbone open up laterally, like the two halves of the breastplate open like a pair of sliding doors, because that relaxes your heart, it softens it, it kind of opens it, and it allows your love, which is unique to you, the beauty in your soul, to flow freely. And that is the magical agent to make anything happen, whether it's a healing or to manifest more money or to heal a situation between you and somebody else that's got difficult for you both. For example, the magical agent that makes it happen is the energy of your heart, your courage, your courage, the energy of the curve, the heart. The love, it's your love, your beauty, your sweetness, your gorgeousness. You call it whatever you want, but you know what I'm saying. And you sit in the back and you have your mind in the back of the brain, gazing out through the mouth of the cave, watching the clouds go by, not giving a toss about what they're all about, letting them come, letting them go. And in front of you, your heart is open, so you feel connected to all sentient beings throughout time and space. One thing is that you will never be lonely once you learn to do this, ever again. You are connected to everyone and everything in love, through the soul level. You're connected now in love to all sentient beings, and through them to the one presence informing it, or the Tao, God, whatever you want to call it. So this is important to set this up before channeling the healing, obviously, because you've got to be in the right space for it. So now, bear in mind that it really makes no difference if you believe in this or not. It's irrelevant. I'm using it merely, if you like, as a model or a metaphor to grab onto, to make it easier to see. If you do believe it, that's fine too. It makes no difference. It's either true or it isn't. It really doesn't matter. What's for sure is that you'll find it works, whether it's true or it isn't. That's the important part. So I assume it's true. That there is this star cluster. There's one visible one and two not visible ones. A trinary star system called Sirius A, B, and C that sits in the winter sky, because in the summer we go around the other side of the sun, we can't see it. But it doesn't mean it's not there, it's still out there. In the southern part of the sky. And it's a beautiful star. It's the one that Mozart wrote Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star for. And somewhere on a planet, somewhere around that star system, there are beings who are benign, advanced, evolved on another level, that look a little bit like Egyptian pharaohs made out of blue light, who seem to have a vested interest in helping things be okay for humanity. I don't know why, they just do. And they are willing to send you their light that is really healing, the light of Sirius itself, which they are able to channel, funnel for your benefit, for you then to share with people here, or just use on yourself. And as I'm saying, it doesn't matter if you think this is a load of nonsense, just go with it as a story anyway, because it works. And so you imagine your right hand is well, it could be your left hand, really, it could be both, is stretched out, ready to receive, in a kind of supplicant position, because you're asking this beautiful, benign being or beings to grant you the access to this stream of light that will heal people, will heal you. And you're going to wait for a second and you imagine, if you're not actually feeling it, that benign being is saying, of course, here you are. It's lovely that you want to use it. We're always happy to help people when you use the light. And you see your hand, draw it. You actually can make a gesture, draw the light down, firstly into the top of your chest, where your thymus gland is. The thymus gland is like the key to entering the soul dimension in the Taoist practice. It's also what keeps you young. It's also what keeps your immune system strong. You're drawing the blue light. It's like electric blue, like flashlight blue. Very vivid, really scintillating, exciting light. Drawing it into the thymus. And it comes in a steady, powerful, intense stream. It's not just like one dollop and then it's gone. It's a constant stream, a bit like a laser. And it feels like a laser. It's pleasantly kind of cutting right through into the thymus gland. And it's reactivating it, because in most people, the thymus atrophies at around about 2021. And it's reactivating your thymus, which is already starting to lift the function of your immune system considerably. And as I say, all you're doing is imagining this. That's fine. It will work anyway. And from there, you can direct this light to any part of your body that needs healing. So if it's that you've not been sleeping well, direct it to your heart energy, to your heart area, to soften and soothe the heart, and to your adrenal glands in the middle back area, to soothe them and settle them and balance them, and maybe to bits of the brain to calm it down a little bit. If you've had trouble peeing with your peeing, too much, too little, whatever, you send the light down to your bladder. I mean, I could go on. You know where it is with you. If you've got an ache or a pain, direct the light to that pain. And as you do it, you're doing it in collaboration with this benign being on this planet, near the star system of Sirius. You're not doing it on your own. This is not you going, right, I'm going to take this light and do stuff with it. They're doing it with you. They're giving it to you. So you're really in partnership with them on it. That's what makes it work. And if you don't know where to send the light, just let it go everywhere, or let your mind decide for you where it needs to go. For now, let that just be going on, so that your body is now being acted upon by this metaphysical light that has healing properties, magical, miraculous healing properties. So it's triggering a cellular level reaction in you that will continue on its own now, gently, subtly, discreetly, so that symptoms that have been bothering you will start to change and disappear. Conditions that have been bothering you will start to lessen, or you'll be guided to go seek help from people who can help you for them. But whatever it is, your process of healing will be ameliorated and expedited by this. But before we sign off, think of a person that needs healing right now, and don't do it with the intellect. Do it wherever your mind goes straight away. And it could be someone that really messed you up and was horrible to you, and that you really don't like, don't want to help at all. But if that's who's come to your mind, go with it, because that's the one that needs it from you. And it will be the thing that will undo any karmic bond that's no good for you as well. So with that person in mind, override all your prejudices about them, or if it's somebody you really like, then you don't have to worry about that. And you see them standing in front of you, and you know that they're broken. You know, there's something about them that's broken that needs to be mended. You might not know exactly what it is, but you can tell, because all humans are broken, basically. So you know that's going on in them. And from you see yourself draw the light in through your thymus, let it fill your body so that you're really rich with it, and then produce it in your hand, in your dominant hand, right or left, whichever it is. Produce the light, draw it from the inside, so that there's like Sai Baba would do with the magic dust. You've produced this kind of ball of blue light in your hand, ready to direct at that person. And with a lot of love in your heart, that's really important. Aware of the being that's sending you the light, so you're in partnership with it. You direct the blue light at the person that's in front of you in your mind. And you see it enter through their thymus, and from there go wherever it needs to go in their body. When you've done that, if there's a couple other people that occur to you that need it, you can quickly do them as well. If not, just stay with this one. I said that because somebody just occurred to me. that I thought I really need to do this to. So anyone who's really occurring to you urgently, you can fit them in quick. But stay with the main one with the wire and see them become more open-faced, more relaxed, see their heart relax, and see whatever it is that's blocking them from being an angel dissolve until what you see before you is them in their angelic state. However far from reality that may seem to you, you see them in their angelic state, and in that state, everything is healing for them. Then, finally, think of humanity. The pundits reckon there's probably about 9 billion of us now, unofficially, on the planet. Nearly 9 billion. It's gone up that much. There's a lot of us on the planet. And we are in a state of agitation, shall we say, a heightened arousal. And it's fun and exciting, but unprecedented and very bizarre what's going on, as we all know. Think of all of humanity standing in front of you now, ready and willing to receive healing from you. And then draw the light from that being near Sirius in through your upper chest. Let it fill your body so strong that all there is this light. And then produce it in your hand again and direct it, along with everyone else in here, at all 9 billion or whatever it is, people on Earth, until everyone that's standing in front of you has received it. And you're able to see the angel in everyone. I'm talking everyone, from Donald Trump through to President Xi, through to serial killers, through to ballet dancers, through to Stormzy, through to anyone and everything and on this planet. Every single human being is receiving this and they're getting the healing. They don't know it consciously, but you can imagine they know it unconsciously. Internally, everyone's going, oh, thank you, this is beautiful. Thank you. I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. And remember, it's coming from this blue light being, and it's coming to everybody through you. And when you feel that everyone's got it, be aware that you're one of the people on the planet. Let yourself receive it too, as one of the people on the planet, as well as the one who was sending it. So kind of close the circuit. So you stop taking yourself personally with it all. And you're allowed to have a wish now for yourself, because you work hard doing this. So have a wish for yourself. Really for yourself though. Don't be all good about it or anything. Give yourself a proper good valued wish now for you. Completely selfish one for you. And it can be really superficial nonsense. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It can be totally materialistic. Whatever it is, have a wish for yourself. And then think about it for a moment. And then know that whether that wish occurs or doesn't is irrelevant, because right now you really have the greatest gift that could ever be. You're alive, without which no other gifts are possible. So just have a feeling of great appreciation for the fact, the miraculous fact that here you are alive on the planet, and right at this moment everything's okay. So we can assume it will continue to grow in its okayness for each of us and everyone. And thanks immensely to the fabulous Danny Green for allowing me to do this, and all of you for listening. And the blue light guy for sending it down in the first place.
Thank you, Doc. That was epic. Let's have a look. Oh,
you can imagine the comments being like, "You're fucking mad. You've lost it, dude."
I had actually prepared one of these earlier, but I must have come back out and back in. So 2 seconds. I'll just.
I'd love to do a spoof on it.
Title crawler, sure. So everyone, that's the Barefoot Doctor, the amazing Barefoot Doctor. His website is thebarefootdoctorworld.com, barefootdoctorworld.com. You find out about super healing on there. His world-class products, amped microdoses. There's all kinds of cool things on it. You get onto his mailing list. He sends out valuable stuff weekly. I recommend you go and check him out. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We've had a steady 18, 19 viewers on right throughout. Many more will catch us on the replay. Keep the comments coming as well on your replay. Doc, I love you, man. Thank you so much.
I love you too, Danny. Love you too.
And we'll see you next time. All the best. Yeah. Bye-bye.